Good day, monkeys. I'm Eddie Braverman, that's Midas Mulligan Magoo, and this is episode 33 of Not Safe for Work on WallStreetOasis.com. As you can see, I'm pumped that it's football season again, even though my Saints lost on Thursday, but best time of year, man, for sports. This week we're covering next weekend's planned invasion and occupation of Wall Street by dirty hippies. If we have any time left, we'll touch on the recent currency action in the Swiss Franc. Next Saturday is the scheduled start of Occupy Wall Street, where 20,000 people are supposed to show up with tents and outdoor kitchens in Lower Manhattan and live on the street for months until Barack Obama capitulates to their one demand. Funniest thing, I think, is that they haven't made that demand. So evidently there's a bunch of anarchists with enough time on their hands to come out and camp out for a few months without even knowing why they're doing it. I don't even know where to start with this thing. It's almost too easy. They even started calling on B of A employees who are facing layoffs to join the party. I can't help myself, but I'm actually hoping these guys show up. Just imagine the smell of 20,000 homeless hippies during Indian summer. This sounds like high comedy to me. Something else I wonder about is why they're targeting Wall Street. I mean, I know why, but I think their populist rage is misplaced. Sure, those of us on Wall Street fuck the little guy every chance we get, but that's kind of our thing. I mean, that isn't news to anyone. Bankers have been robbing the people blind for centuries. Why aren't these guys camping out in front of the Fed or the SEC? You know, the guys who are supposed to be protecting you from guys like us, but couldn't find their asses with both hands? I'm actually being serious. These hippies shouldn't besiege Wall Street, because we really don't give a shit. Go camp out on the White House lawn if you want to make an impression. What do you think, dude?
Well, I like the comment about the smell. It makes me think of that Simpsons episode where they're also gung-ho about getting weed legalized, and then they all sit down and get high and forget to go to the actual voting. But and I'd love to shit on these pinko turds as much as the next asshole, but I think the answer's in your opening comments. I mean, they want Barack Obama to do something. They want him to capitulate. In other words, it's just their centralist commie worldview coming into the focus. I mean, the reality. Do you know what they want, though?
I mean, do you have any idea what they? I mean, they say they have one demand. Do you know what it is?
They have no fucking demands, bro. Listen, you got two types of people. You got these career unionists who don't have the skill set to go do anything else, and they still have some time ticking before retirement, so they need to bitch about something, hoping that populist rage Bolshevik approach to life is going to bully somebody into giving them $1. And then you have the usual suspects, you know, when it comes to the far left elite, which is basically these rich kids, these fucking wannabe hippies, these wannabe hipsters who are all from their, you know, elitist Upper East and Upper West Side lives, who come downtown to bitch about Wall Street and all that crap. While meanwhile, they're out there partying it up with the same, you know, banker crowd that they hate so much. The only difference is they inherited so much money they don't actually have to work for it. Nobody has the fucking time to be sitting around in Lower Manhattan complaining about life, you know, when there are actually bills to pay. And as a lot of our commenters pointed out this week when I made the post about it originally, you're not going to find shit but Deutsche Bank down there any damn way.
Well,
you know?
Right, yeah. I mean,
you know, we know the Germans know how to deal with those commies, you know, so it could get interesting.
I don't know, man. For some reason, I'm looking forward to seeing, like, Burning Man East or something. I know it ain't going to happen. There's probably just going to be a bunch of no-shows, if the truth be told, but I don't know. The cynic in me hopes that they turn out and it's just a huge shit show, and
they're just gonna hang out. They're gonna have fucking retarded ass signs up, and like the 3.5 bankers that actually pass by aren't gonna know what the fuck is going on because they're gonna be too drugged out from not having slept for the last 27 hours, you know, jacked up off of coffee. And these idiots wouldn't know the difference between a banker and, you know, a union executive any damn way, even though those guys are their people. So, shit show. Goodbye.
Yep. Well, on to something a little more serious. The Swiss have moved to put a floor under the franc after it had risen 20% over the past 2 years. So now they're saying they won't let the franc go below 120 relative to the euro, and that's right where it is right now as we speak. It's a little higher than that, but right around there. Now, as usual, no good deed goes unpunished. You run your country and your economy responsibly, and then everyone else wants a piece of your action when their party's over. Switzerland was already a ridiculously expensive place to visit. Now it's off the charts. I mean, we're talking like $13 for a Big Mac. It's nutty. I understand the move to curb the appreciation in the franc. I just think it's a shame that they're no longer on the gold standard. But the Swiss know how to run a real democracy, and the people actually voted to drop the gold standard 10 years ago in 2000. But I think it would have been really interesting to see how high the franc would go if it were still backed by gold and inflation weren't an option. I think it'd be a cool object lesson in fiat currency versus, Austrian economics to have seen that. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think it would have been a cool lesson in how quickly everybody who claims to be your friend shoots down your fucking windows and burns down your doors and comes in and robs your house blind, if that were the case, because the Swiss franc, if that were the situation, would be appreciating so fast that there would just be way, way, way too much interest for every single depositor in every Swiss bank to come in there and not only take back what they put in, but whatever else was also there. The thing that I think is really interesting about Switzerland historically that seemingly doesn't have anything to do with finance and economics, but I think is really kind of the core of the way they do business, is the fact that every single bridge and every single road going into Switzerland is literally lined with dynamite. So all these stories about, the Swiss being neutral and not wanting to take sides. Listen,
gun ownership's mandatory, dude.
Exactly.
It's fantastic the way they run their country.
You're not coming in there without taking heavy, heavy, heavy military losses. So that's kind of the spine to their whole approach to everything. And the reality is the European Union right now is finding itself in very unfamiliar territory. The whole kumbaya, dance is over, and now they're dealing with some real shit. I mean, the potential for Greece finally to be let down the river is increasing. It might even happen as early as later on in the month. And
it might be later on this evening.
Yeah, well, how things have a tendency to take a while, but we could see it in the next week. And why should Switzerland suffer? Why should they have the inflation of other places exported into their own borders? Why should they have to deal with fiscal responsibility everywhere else? This is why they chose not to be a part of the monetary union in the first place. So, hey, they're doing what they have to do. And unlike a currency bootlegger thief like China, they actually don't have much other options and much other defense in this kind of situation, being as small as they are. So more power to them for doing right by themselves. And who gives a shit if the Braverman clan can't come and enjoy themselves there? They don't need you guys. They don't need you.
No, you're right.
Tourist dollars. So
it's a weird place anyway, man. But who looks smarter than the Swiss and I hate to say it, but the Brits right now we'll go ahead and we'll be a part of your little European Union, and we'll come to that dance or what have you, but we're going to go ahead and keep our own currency.
Exactly.
We know how all y'all are.
Exactly.
I'm thinking the Irish are kind of wishing that they stayed on the prunes than gone to the euro, but
hey, we would have all been better off if the British Empire never went anywhere, man. I don't like working myself, tea and strumpets right now, bringing somebody some coffee cakes.
Tea and strumpets. Gotta love strumpets.
I love those strumpets, baby.
All right. Well, I don't have any. I've been reading plenty, but I don't have a book ready to recommend to anybody yet. Unless you're interested in bouldering in Fontainebleau, but that's got to be a pretty small subset of WSO. So, have you read anything? You got anything to recommend?
Lately I've been reading a lot on security and anti-terrorism tactics. So I don't think that's actually relevant to the WSO audience either, even though those are the topics that have a tendency to get quite a few comments. So let's try to get these guys something a little more industry relevant for next time. Yeah,
I'll have something next week for sure, guys. Even if it's fiction, I've actually been reading a good bit of Wall Street fiction lately, and some of it isn't half bad. So
not bad.
All right, well that's all I got this week. You got anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, well as usual, keep your heads low and your powder dry, and do your best to avoid the hordes of hippies invading Wall Street next weekend. And,
wear a red tie so they think you're one of them.
Right. And we'll catch you next week on Not Safe for Work. Take care, guys.